The following podcast is taken from a live broadcast on Inspire FM.
Catch a creative vibe on the Urban Kube with sister Shemiza.
The following program is a repeat. Please do not message or call in. Any announcements made on the program may now not be applicable.
Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to you. It's 10 o'clock, Monday, 4th of February 2019, and you're listening to me, Shemiza, taking it all the way up to 12 o'clock. On where else? The Urban Kube, of course, brought to you on Inspire FM, and we're going live and direct to the lovely, lovely people across Luton surrounding areas and our awesome listeners across Salam Radio and Link FM. So Salam Radio in Peterborough, assalamu alaikum to all our listeners there, and the very, very fabulous listeners at Link FM as well in Sheffield. Wow, goodness me. It was wonderful driving into the studio this morning and not a single speckle of snow in sight. Mashallah. What a weekend it's been. Love to find out how you guys got through it, especially in the Luton surrounding areas. I mean, Friday was tremendous. Goodness me. I mean, the adventure I had on Friday, and many schools were closed across Luton, but there were lots of places that were still remained open, but a lot of children were not in school. So, mashallah, it was quite an interesting experience being at home with the children. They absolutely loved the snow. They were outdoors, getting on with it. What was your experience like, folks? And did everything just was on standstill for you? I remember back in the day, say good 10, 15 years ago, where, you'd have like a good, 7, 8, 10 centimetres of snow and you'd still carry on, or you'd have half a metre of snow and you still carry on, get on with things. But now even the tiniest speckle of snow and then everything seems to be on a standstill. I don't know whether that's fair to do so, but maybe it's a safety thing. I don't know. But I would love to find out what you guys got up to on that Friday when it kind of snowed quite intensively across Luton. Or, I mean, was it intense? I don't know, but it did seem as if everything had stopped. It did look absolutely gorgeous. I love it when the snow is just completely pristine. It's not been touched, and it just looks absolutely glorious. Not very attractive when it gets a little bit sleety, but yeah. Okay, I'm babbling on a bit. As always, it is Monday morning and you're listening to the Urban Kube with me, Shemiza, taking you all the way up to 12 o'clock on the show this morning. And what an interesting show, I promising it to be, because we've got another 4 fabulous guests that will be joining me over the phone this morning to share their creative journey and how they use creativity to kind of inspire, motivate and just reflect regarding their careers and the audiences that they engage with as well. I'll be sharing with you who they are very, very shortly. Also kind of getting on with some current news stories as well with the guests this morning. But I also want to kind of mention some national days, some national and international days that have been celebrated across the world. It is World Cancer Day. You may have heard Brother Tariq mention this on the Rise and Shine show this morning. It is World Cancer Day, and there were some absolutely beautiful messages that were coming through, and one particular message that really, really did resonate deep whilst driving and listening to the Rise and Shine show this morning was the fact that there was a wonderful sister asking everybody to make dua for those that have been impacted by cancer. Please do, let's all keep our friends, family, those people impacted by cancer and those people that are going through treatment or have lost loved ones, just keep them in your prayers, inshallah. And on today's show, we will be kind of reflecting on across the week and potentially next week as well, reflecting around World Cancer Day as well, and the way we can kind of make sure that people are getting the correct not correct treatment, but actually making sure that they go and get themselves checked out, because there are still a lot of women, and I'm speaking as a woman, a lot of women that are still not getting tests done or getting themselves checked out. And I think it's really, really important that people, take any signs seriously and go and see a doctor. And if they have any concerns, and make sure they contact the right right means of communication in doing so. Okie doke. Okay, so on this morning's show, folks, I'm joined by, as promised, a wonderful array of guests, and we're going to be talking about some very, very interesting topics as well, which I hope will be motivating you through the week as well, and hopefully getting you involved with some of their projects too. I'm going to be joined by Farah Subhan very, very shortly, and she's of Farah Visual Arts, and she uses a pop art aesthetic to explore her identity as a Muslim woman living in the West, as well as various other important political and humanitarian issues taking place around the world. She's also the co-founder of DOT, and they've held recent creative meetups. And she's also going to be talking to me about a project that she's actually launching, or she's part of, in Luton, a very, very poignant and very significant project. And it's she's exhibiting a piece of work to raise awareness on the issue of knife crime, yes. Farah Subhan will be talking to me about a project which is called 20 Seconds to Murder, which is a visual arts project which is going to be showcasing at Luton Sixth Form, and inshallah she'll be talking to us about why she's got involved with this project and what it actually means in raising awareness of this knife crime project. Now, as we can appreciate, knife crime is in the headlines all the time. It's a growing problem, and it seems to be worsening and not lessening, unfortunately, with the loss of a number of young people's innocent lives lost because of knife crime. The list is just so extensive, and the numbers of children, and it is children that have also been impacted by this. And this project is going to be very quite interesting to learn about, and I'm really, really pleased that Farah Subhan, who is very well known for her art and tackling poignant and taboo issues through her artwork, is part of this very extraordinary project, which has actually been led by an artist by the name of Halima. Halima is somebody that you may have heard me interview on the show, Halima Ali. She's another artist in Luton who's doing tremendous work, mashallah, across the town, politically, creatively, and socially as well. So that's just another project that I think has quite a significant place across Luton. Now, on the phone, I'm joined as really, really delighted to have the very, very awesome Farah Subhan joining us this morning, all the way from London. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. How are you?
I'm very, very well. Thank you so very much, my dear, for joining us this morning from your very, very busy schedule. Now, I have introduced you just before giving you my salams this morning. You are part of some very exciting projects and nationally, but there's also one locally which is very significant, inshallah. But before we talk about that, Farah, I just want to say, how are you this morning?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
You're very, very welcome. Now, it is a National Sweater Day, Farah. Are you in your sweater?
Yes, I am actually. I love jumpers, and in this weather, there's nothing better than a comfy sweater, isn't it?
I'm wearing a lovely cable knit sweater, and I absolutely love the coziness and just snuggling up in a like a really nice chunky sweater. But when's the last time you received anything hand knitted? And that's the question I'm going to ask my listeners. Do you own anything that's hand knitted? And are you into knitting? Is knitting your thing, Farah? Are you into knitting at all?
Not at all, actually. I don't know how to knit. It's actually quite beautiful, and I admire people that can knit, but I've never actually given it a go.
Maybe this is something that could be prescribed as well by the NHS, maybe, because this is something we're going to be talking to you about, because there's quite a lot of articles that have been circulated suggesting that the NHS plans to recruit 1,000 social prescribers to refer patients to local activities, and they're actually really kind of pushing this drive, the NHS is, as art being prescribed. And you're somebody that works very, very closely with art as a means of art for social action, mashallah. And is this something that you think is needed, or
I think, yeah, absolutely. It's very much needed. I think at the moment, we all know that the NHS, they're already bursting at the seams. And I think that these link workers, I think they're called, they're going to be helping so much because a lot of the people that go to the GP, most of them actually need help with low-level mental health, or sometimes it's just loneliness and, social problems. So then these link workers can sit down with them and actually look at their life as a whole.
Wow.
And help them identify where things are lacking. It might be making new friends. It might be being more creative. So, yes, I think this is really, really good.
It sounds
really good incentive.
As artists ourselves, as creative practitioners, we can see the benefit of art. And I think for me personally, being an artist has kind of like enabled me to keep my mental health invigorated. And would you say that you're in a lucky place as well? Because if it's been prescribed and you're already in this field, you clearly see the benefit.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, being creative helps you in so many ways. Mentally, it keeps you, on your toes, keeps you creating, but also on a self-esteem basis as well. I mean, the more you create, the more you feel better about yourself and the more empowered you feel. And also, I mean, personally, I also use my work to open up these discussions and get my messages across. So I think, it can be used as therapy as well to help you, express these thoughts and these feelings that you might find hard, a bit hard to talk about. So,
and that's something that's something that you've done so successfully, mashallah, because you're internationally recognised for your pop art, and you're using your identity as a Muslim woman living in the West, as well as other important political and humanitarian issues taking place in the world through your artwork. For those people that are obviously listening into the show this morning who may have not had the experience of seeing your artwork, how would you actually describe it visually to our listeners?
I use the brightest colours that you can think of. So I'm actually drawn to these neon colours and the bright colours. But the thing is, with my work, the colours can draw you in, and the style that I use is quite bold. But then if you look closer, I'm actually talking about some very important things. Like recently, I've made some work about mental health in the Muslim community. I have talked about police brutality and Islamophobia, war in the Middle East. So I think, the colours draw you in, but then the messages keep you interested. Alhamdulillah.
And this is what's so remarkable about it, because you are drawn in instantly by the vibrancy and the burst of colours, and then you come close and you're thinking, oh gosh, there's a message entwined in this vibrant palette of colour, and it kind of does hit you quite hard in a good way, and and it's provocative, but clearly very, very clever as well, mashallah. You've taken your work across the country, but you're also now coming to the heart of Luton as well, and you're part of an upcoming exhibition, mashallah, which is about, you're exhibiting a piece of work to raise awareness on the issue of knife crime, and it's called 20 Seconds to Murder. Wow. Tell us more, Farah, because this sounds quite intense, but very, very valuable.
Yes, I think it's very relevant and it's much needed. And I actually was approached by Halima, and I instantly felt, that I needed to be part of this cause. The way she explained to me, how knife crime is on the rise in Luton. And it's not only Luton. I mean, I'm in London and we see it all the time in the news. And I just thought it's something that I really need to raise awareness for. It's also the way that Halima came across, Azan's mum as well, because she's the one who met Halima at one of her previous exhibitions and actually asked her to curate this exhibition. And Azan was, unfortunately, he passed away last year, and his attack lasted 22 seconds. So Halima is curating this exhibition in memory of Azan Kaleem.
And Azan, greatly missed by everyone that knew him, and it did rock the community of Luton, not just Luton, but also nationally as well. His murder, and this, I hope, this exhibition, I hope, will help to raise awareness across the community on how important it is for us as a community to tackle the issue of knife crime. Farah, what do you feel will come from this exhibition, and what are you hoping may possibly, change?
I think Halima is on a really good path with this exhibition because when we talk about these important issues, especially to the youth, it's really hard to sit them down and get these points across.
Right.
I think with this exhibition, because it's interactive, it's visual, and there's also going to be performances and poetry. Hopefully, the people that do attend, whether they're parents or young people themselves, I hope that these different ways of expression will actually hit something with them and make them realise that something needs to be done in the community. I think it's an issue that needs to be tackled as a whole. And I think Halima is in a really good way of getting these messages across.
Inshallah. So this is a knife crime project that you're involved with. Folks, if you're listening into the show, you are listening to the Urban Kube with me, Shemiza, taking you all the way up to 12 o'clock. I'm joined by a very, very significant and respected artist by the name of Farah Subhan of Farah Visual Arts. She uses pop art aesthetic to explore her identity as a Muslim woman living in the West, as well as various other important political and humanitarian issues taking place around the world. She's also part of a very, very important and very relevant art exhibition, an event that is happening in Luton on the 18th of February. And this is called 22 Seconds to Murder. It's a knife crime project, and her work will be... the piece of work that she's exhibiting will help to raise awareness of the issue of knife crime. And Farah, will you be present at this event when it happens?
I'm hoping so. It's going to be on a Monday, on the 18th, and it's from 12 to 6 p.m.
Okay.
But yes, if I can organise childcare, I'll be there, definitely.
And you are a working mother as well, mashallah. How are you managing your artwork and motherhood?
It's all about juggling everything, isn't it? And just, I pray that this year I'm going to be a bit more, I'll be better at time management. And, because I homeschool as well, so it's not like, the kids give me any time. But alhamdulillah, you just get on with it, don't you?
And you do get on with it exceptionally well, even more so now that you're now a co-founder of something called, is it the Dot Guild?
Yeah.
And this is a meetup of creatives across the country, and in particular in London. And you had a recent creative meetup at the Tate. How did it go?
Oh, yeah, it was really, really well. It went really well, alhamdulillah. And we're just a platform of artists. We want to help each other as creatives and support each other. So we host exhibitions across London, and also we had a meetup last December at the Tate. So loads of people came together and just networked and got to know each other a little bit better. And this year we're hoping to host a few more workshops and exhibitions as well.
And how can people get in contact with you if they're wanting to get involved with the Dot Guild and possibly go to one of these events? And do they have to be London-centric?
At the moment, we're based in London, but we are hoping to branch out. And at the moment, you can follow us on Instagram on Dot Guild, and all the information will be on there, or even on my page, Farah Visual Arts. I tend to share all our upcoming events, inshallah. But we have quite a lot on coming up this year.
And what made you want to come to Luton to be part of this particular exhibition? And have you been to Luton prior to this?
I think the only time I came to Luton was to be on your show.
Lovely to have you back.
A couple of years ago, actually. But I think I'm quite picky with the exhibitions that I'm part of.
Okay.
And, the brief really needs to speak to me. And when Halima approached me, I knew that this was something that I needed to do and something that I needed to support. Because I think people need to be more aware of this issue, because it could be anyone. I mean, you can read it. You read it in the news, but when it's your neighbour, when it's part of your family, that's when it really hits you how close these issues are.
And it is more closer than home than we realise. And as a mother yourself, I can appreciate how important it is to kind of make sure that a message like this is loud and clear. So for folks who've just tuned in, I'm speaking to Farah Subhan of Farah Visual Arts, and we're talking about art for social action this morning. We've talked about how art has been prescribed by the NHS, inshallah, which is, it sounds crazy, but it's absolutely awesome as well. But also talking to Farah about her work, which is going to be exhibited at an exhibition called 20 Seconds to Murder, and exploring the dangers of knife crime, which I'm really quite excited I don't know whether excited is the right word to use, but I'm really quite looking forward to actually seeing this exhibition, because it's such a big subject, and to have using art to tackle this subject, do you think it's going to be enough though, Farah?
I think so. I mean, speaking to Halima and when she was explaining to me her feelings behind the exhibition, I think she does have a point in saying, especially the teenagers nowadays, the youth, it's not easy to just sit them down and speak to them face to face and say, you shouldn't be doing this, or, the message might not hit home hard enough. Whereas an event like this, they're going to be seeing work from artists, which I believe art can be more poignant, in the way it speaks to you. And also there's going to be poetry, and it's going to be an event where people are getting together, and inshallah there's going to be Azan's parents there as well.
Wow.
And Halima, and and I think meeting Azan's parents and seeing the grief might make them realise, of course, that this is a real issue. And like I said, it could be our family, it could be a neighbour, it could be anyone.
This story is it's a fact of life, unfortunately. The number of young people who've experienced or impacted or know somebody who has been stabbed is more real than we'd like to believe, unfortunately. Now, this project is a performance and discussion. The venue is Luton Sixth Form College. It's happening on the 18th of February. The time is 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the evening. It's a free event open to all. If you'd like to get involved, please email contact@halimaali.com. So that's contact@halimaali.com. Inshallah, I will be speaking to Halima next week, fingers crossed, to talk a little bit more in depth about this event, because I do think it's extremely significant, and I'm so delighted, Farah, you're part of it, because your work is really profound. And what's remarkable is the fact that you're using pop art to kind of really relay some very, very poignant and very, very important issues. Has the piece been created, Farah? Has it already been completed, or are you still in the process of developing it?
Yes, I'm just in the middle of painting at the moment. But I've got some time ahead of me. The event is on the 18th of February, so inshallah. I'll be okay for time, inshallah.
Fantastic. And Farah, if there's anybody that wants to kind of connect with you, what are your social media handles?
Yes, so I'm online under Farah Visual Arts on Instagram and Facebook. Farah Subhan as well on Facebook. And I've got a website as well, Farah Visual Arts.
Fantastic. And any advice that you could give to any budding pop artists out there that would like to kind of go into your genre of artistry?
I think, yes, go for it. It's much needed. I think as Muslim creatives, we need to find a way to get our messages out there now more than ever. And if you find something that you're comfortable with and something that really defines you as a creative, you should really go for it head on. And also, we're very lucky. I've got a bit of a love-hate relationship with social media, but I think we're very lucky to have these platforms now to share our work on. And we should use what we have to, show what we're doing.
And you know what I absolutely love about your work, Farah, is the fact that, yes, social media is extremely important, but you're not just working via social media, you're actually getting out of the social media space and connecting with people and taking them to real spaces like galleries to have discussions and meetups as part of like Dot Guild, which is super, super exciting as well. So Farah, thank you so very much for joining us this morning. Have a lovely, wrapped up warm day in your sweater because it's National Sweater Day, and you might even want to grab some soup as well because it's National Soup Day too. I've got it all sorted on this show. Give my love to the kids and good luck with this project, inshallah.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. That was the very awesome Farah Subhan of Farah Visual Arts talking to me about art for social action and art therapy being prescribed by the NHS, as well as the project 22 Seconds to Murder, which she is exhibiting an art piece at this very, very important performing arts and visual exhibition happening at Luton Sixth Form, which I'll be talking a lot more about later on in the show. So I'm heading off to a break, inshallah, and after that I'm going to be having more creative conversations with some awesome guests. So join me straight after this. Assalamu alaikum.
There are two blessings which many people waste: health and free time, in Sahih al-Bukhari. So why not spare some of your time and join me, Sister Shagufta, by tuning into Your Health is Your Wealth, where I'll be speaking about holistic health and well-being, including tips from the Quran and Sunnah. That's every Monday at 1 p.m. on Inspire 105.1 FM.
Catch a creative vibe on the Urban Kube with Sister Shemiza.
The following programme is a repeat. Please do not message or call in. Any announcements made on the programme may now not be applicable.
Good morning and assalamu alaikum. It is 10:30 exactly, and you're listening to me, Shemiza, taking you all the way up to 12 o'clock on the Urban Kube show, brought to you on Inspire FM. Going live and direct across Luton and surrounding areas, Peterborough and Sheffield this morning as well. And we have the repeat at 8 p.m. this evening. Now, you can catch all the conversations on Facebook, which is live, but just audio, folks, just audio, because all the guests this morning are actually over the phone. So they're joining me all over the phone now. I've had the absolute pleasure of speaking to the very tremendous Farah Subhan of Farah Visual Arts, and she was talking to me about art for social action. On this morning's show, she shared with us her passion for creativity and also the fact that her work, we were talking to her about how the NHS is actually prescribing art as for well-being. How awesome is that? And her opinions and thoughts on that. And we also talked to Farah about a project that she is involved in Luton, and it's a knife crime project, and the exhibition is being held at Luton Sixth Form College on the 18th of February from 12 to 6 o'clock. It's a free event open to all, and it's called 22 Seconds to Murder. Her work is basically, she is exhibiting artwork at this exhibition to highlight knife crime and the dangers of it, inshallah. So we will be speaking to the creator of this project, Halima Ali, inshallah, on the show, hopefully next week, to talk a little bit more in depth on why this exhibition is needed and what she aims to gain from it and how it can actually hopefully have an impact on the audiences that will be participating. It is a free event open to all. And I look forward to finding out a little bit more about it and hopefully attending this event as well. Now, on today's show, I'm joined by, as always, tremendous guests motivating my Monday, hopefully yours as well, on some of the amazing work that they are involved in engaging the wider communities, not just locally, but nationally as well. Now, some of those guests will be, I'm going to be joined by Sabah Choudhry. Sabah Choudhry is a journalist extraordinaire. Now, you might have heard her voice in the actual advert prior to the show, mashallah. She's a producer, a presenter, and a journalist, and she's produced 2 outstanding programs on Muslim channels, and I'm going to joining to speak to her about her career to date, because I just think she has such a lovely spark about her. She's going to help me wake up on this wonderful, glorious Monday morning. And my goodness, I am totally awake this morning, wrapped up very, very warm in my sweater. And I'm kind of like, you know what? I'm rolling with it in this sweater because it is National Sweater Day. And it just reminded me, the sweater that I'm wearing on... the hand-knitted ones that my grandma used to make me when I was a young girl. And I just thought to myself, gosh, when's the last time, I picked up knitting needles? I'd love to get back into knitting jumpers and scarves again. I used to do all that stuff when I had lots of time on my hands. And maybe that's something the NHS might want to prescribe as well. Would love to find out from you guys. When's the last time you've knitted something or received something knitted? Has knitting just faded away, faded out? I love things that are handmade and hand-worn. And hand-worn? Gosh, babbling on a little bit, but handwritten letters are something that I absolutely love as well. And I had the absolute pleasure on Thursday receiving a handwritten note and a lovely book, 99 Names of the Beloved, which is such a beautiful book on verses, Quranic verses and poetry. Beautiful, beautiful gift. And it came with a lovely little handwritten note, and it really, really made my day. When's the last time you wrote a handwritten note, people, to somebody that mattered? I'd love to find out, because those tiny little gestures really, really make my day, and I wonder if they make your day as well. Now, somebody who is definitely making his mark in the world of giving is a tremendous young man all the way from Nottingham, mashallah, who's joining me on the show very, very shortly over the phone. And he's kind of going to suit this part of my show very, very well, because I've actually received a lovely calendar called Action Calendar Friendly February. And this calendar is basically quite significant because it talks about what actions you can do each day to kind of really reach out and be kind. Today is the 4th, and on the 4th it says, do something supportive and friendly for your colleagues. Well, I think Brother Tariq, who is our manager in the studio, has been very friendly and supportive and helped me set up my show today. So thank you for that. So you've definitely ticked that box. And tomorrow it says, notice the good qualities of everyone you meet today. Wow, that's a really, really nice thing to do on the 5th. So noticing the good qualities of everyone you meet today. So it's meeting tomorrow, but you can do that today as well. And just simple as that to make your February significant. Now, one key thing on this show is making sure that we raise awareness of the goodness, the greatness that happens across the country, and also locally as well. And that is actually reaching out to our communities and those that are vulnerable as well. And one thing that has been quite significant is the number of homeless people who've been impacted by the weather, and the number of homeless impacted just greatly across the country as well. And somebody that's actually really trying to reach out and make sure that we're kind of engaging with the wider community and those that are less fortunate is my next guest, Zidan Qureshi, who is the fundraising manager of a new charity called Salam Charity. And I'm absolutely delighted to have him on the show this morning. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Shemiza, how are you?
I'm very, very well. I'm very well. And you sound very well this morning. So I'm assuming there's no snow in Nottingham.
You know what? It's completely misted. It's getting warmer. It's been nice and sunny and bright for the last 2 days.
Fantastic.
So a lot of reasons to be happy about.
Mashallah.
But to be honest, honestly, snow is quite nice anyway, regardless.
It is. And it's, it's National Sweater Day. Are you into sweaters, jumpers, polo necks, or are you one of these people that just wears coats?
I love coats, but I have a lot of hoodies, definitely. I'm wearing a hoodie right now, so I just like to kind of dry myself in it. But when you were talking about like knitting and stuff like that, so many things came to mind. As in, like, when people had actually knitted stuff for... I've never knitted. I would not know how to. But, I mean, just with, like, campaign-wise, I think your mind automatically goes into sort of how we could do a campaign around this.
I love that. I love the way you're thinking. And that's just absolutely wonderful. Because this is what you're about, aren't you, Zidan? You're really, really into this. You're kind of very innovative with your ideas. You're always, like, looking at different ways of kind of engaging people with charity. And this is what we're talking about, because you're doing this drive of getting lots of volunteers involved with charity work. Why is it important, and how are we going to get knitting involved?
Okay, so honestly, with regards to getting people involved in volunteers, there's so much I can say about it. Firstly, there's millions of good people in the world that wanting to help those that are probably less fortunate or going through some hardship, suffering with one for one reason or another. And there's lots of people that are wanting to help, but just probably don't know how to, or what opportunities are out there with how they can actually get involved and start supporting and doing something good to try and give back to the world and the community that they're in, or people that they're probably never going to meet again, across the other side of the globe, but just want to do something good. It's good karma, right? And I think having this sort of volunteer recruitment drive allows people to realize that actually, invite them to a meeting. We have really creative brainstorming sessions. So there's not me standing there talking about this is what we want you to do. No, it's, okay, why have you guys attended? What do you guys want to do? How do you want to help? What is it that you do? What skills do you have? What talents do you have? What hobbies do you have? Interests? Kind of getting to know the volunteers themselves or the people that have attended the meetings, and then shaping around that some sort of creative concept, events, challenges that are to do with raising funds for a campaign or a cause, or raising awareness for one. And honestly, it's just a meeting of minds. That's why it is this recruitment drive. We've started on Saturday in Nottingham, and then we went to Derby, then Milton Keynes and Peterborough yesterday. Today we're in Sheffield. And it's just
so you're in Sheffield today.
People.
Now, we are reaching out to the wonderful people on Link FM in Sheffield this morning. So if you're in Sheffield, whereabouts in Sheffield?
So we'll be in... it's in the upper floor of a restaurant called Imran's. They've been kind enough to give us a space to use and brainstorm. It's a nice chilled out environment on London Road. I think they've got 3 branches, but this one's on London Road at 6 p.m.
Wonderful.
And it's quite a nice. We've got about 7, 8. No, well, actually, no. Looking at this, we've got 11 people attending that meeting now.
Fantastic.
Which is quite nice.
So how are people connecting with you, and where, and because you're going across the country, so do you have a website, and how has the response been so far?
So they connect with us through social media. It's Salam Charity UK, mostly, and it's quite a new charity. This has been established since 2011, but they didn't really have the infrastructure and the team in place to kind of maybe take it as far as they wanted it to go. This year, it's been myself who's joined and another colleague, head of operations, and I think we've just got a good team in place now. And because of our experience, we're able to kind of run with it. But what we like about the charity is the fact that we're chucking it to the people. We want it to be the people's charity. So we want them to come forward with what causes do they want to support, what countries do they want to support. Do you want to go out and visit some of the work that we're doing in field offices? We're already sending 2 volunteers out, one to Bangladesh and one to Indonesia by March this year, inshallah. Because, again, we think it's important for the grassroots level audience to go out and see the work, not just be here and raise funds and awareness, but actually vet us as a charity as well. Because
vetting is extremely important. There has been, charities do great work, but there's been a lot of, if I'm allowed to say that, a little bit of controversy as well. Like, where does all the charity,
skeptical.
the admin costs go, so forth?
Yeah, but it's a good, it's a good thing where people are waking up to it, because again, people need to ask us questions. So these volunteer recruitment drives, I always encourage the people that attend. Firstly, I'll be surprised actually. Many times I ask them, what do you know about the organisation? Do you know the donation policy? Do you know where we operate, how we operate? Many of them won't know. And at that point, I will make sure that they understand what it is and what they're getting themselves involved in, and encourage them to continue asking questions, because if the public stop asking us questions and holding us accountable, then it's just more room for errors, more rooms for...
Interesting.
Yeah. I think it's important that we need to keep everybody on their toes, even, us.
And I love the fact that you've said that, even though you are in the heart of this charity, but you want your volunteers, you want people to kind of hold you account and keep you in check. And I think that's really applaudable. Now, you've talked about international projects. What about the local projects? Because there's a lot of work that needs to be done within our own communities. So what sort of ideas are people coming up with?
Again, so like somebody just had a meeting on Saturday with one of the volunteers, came up, and they are, and this is quite innovative, I like this. So there are loads of food banks, we know that. There's plenty of them. I've worked with like the likes of Trust and Trust and stuff like that. So we were thinking, what else could we do? And this one volunteer suggested that he is a business owner, so he has a driving school. He's going to give free driving lessons to Syrian refugees, those that are migrated here, just to try and open up more doors for them. Because again, if they can then drive, then they can go further afield.
That's
to look for
fantastic.
work. But then what was better was he said he's actually going to, or he's wanting to, hire a couple of barbershop chairs, get them to train up on those that probably can't afford to pay for haircuts. So those that are living like on the homeless or strapped for cash and going through hardship. So they've got a free haircut, but these guys have also got a free chair where they can train, so innovative vocational training. But then once they've then trained and learned after 2-3 months, he's then looking to convert a truck into a mobile barbershop with a sink in it and so on. So then they can drive around to university campuses and colleges and just literally give people haircuts and actually earn a decent living income from it. So have like a mobile haircut truck.
What a super cool idea.
And we have, and we've accepted it, alhamdulillah. So now we're actually working with this person to actually make sure that we bring this to life.
Fantastic. And how have you accepted this idea? Did they have to trial your hair first?
No, not my hair. Actually, we did. No, we're going to find. So right now, it's just about the logistics of it and understanding what the costs are involved.
Right.
What are the logistics? How are we going to get about doing this? So the volunteer is kind of done quite a lot in the sense of written up the proposal. We're just going to meet them next week, ensure that we understand how we're going to raise the funds to cover this, and then also how it's going to be spent and what the benefits are going to be to the community and those that need the help and support, and how we're going to measure that as well. So all the background work.
Wow. So I'm assuming your experience, which is quite a number of years, mashallah, because I've known your work for a number of years, you have that infrastructure in place that you can just say, yes, this can happen, no, that can't happen, or we can connect with you with the right people to make this happen. Is this what it is? Is it like a training school?
That's kind of like, that's true actually. That's kind of like what it's going to be. So those that just have the interest in barbering come forward. We've got a certain vetting process that they'll have, these delivery partners, and then bismillah, join us and let's just get you the training that you want. And whether they go ahead and actually then go ahead and use it, their choice to a certain extent. But at the same time, at least we're giving people, just providing them opportunities, getting them off the street. I've lived in Nottingham. I know 5 Syrian young lads that I met 3 years ago that came here at the age of 16. Their stories were traumatic. The Calais and how they lived and where they lived and how they lost their parents and everything else. But I also saw how the system failed them, or was looking at how the system was failing them, and how they were literally just on the streets, maybe selling drugs to earn a little bit of income, X, Y, Z. It was really easy. And if they didn't probably have the support network of maybe my family that stepped in, they could have quite easily just gone onto a different path. So I think this is where we have a role and responsibility as well. We can't just believe that the system is going to take care of people. We need to take a step forward. And to be honest, we are the privileged ones who are able and in a position to help other people. It is actually a privilege because because we are actually helping ourselves in the long run, spiritually, and in this world as well. We touched on karma, and the more you give out, the more you get back in return, and it's always going to be good.
Zidan, how many years have you been in the charity sector?
8-9 years now.
So what's made you stay within this sector? Considering you have such a creative background, but you changed direction and you ended up in the charity sector.
Because you can just be as creative within this sector As in, like, so I've been before this year, I was a national events and volunteer manager. Now I'm head of fundraising. But what you're allowed to do is just think of innovative ways, what you touched on, creative ways of raising awareness and raising funds for causes that we want to support. And that is all about organising flash mobs. We're talking about open mic events, like so many different events all around the country. We've got campaign challenges where we're climbing mountains and running marathons. There's so many different types of events that we've got. National MMA tournaments, like loads of different things. We've even, in Ramadan, we've got campaigns where we're wanting to understand how we can maybe get the wider community involved in fasting with us for a week, maybe like a challenge type thing, and just see how we can be more inclusive. But you can still be just as creative and innovative, because it is all about really just meeting like-minded people who are from all sorts of backgrounds. You meet a 13-year-old volunteer to a 50-year-old volunteer. You can meet professional doctors to somebody who's a student.
And it's just people who want to give. And you mentioned 13-year-olds. Is this a great opportunity for young people to gain work experience as well? Because there is, you can't get a job until you've had work experience or some form of experience. And it is quite competitive out there. So what would you say to any young person who wants to get work experience? There are so many different options in so many different roles that you can adapt. So if you want to get involved in marketing and communications, digital marketing is a huge platform right now. You can do it, more than welcome. We've got volunteers, a team of volunteers who are 4 of them. They're all kind of planning and shaping our digital marketing side of things. They're writing newsletters. They are looking at blog posts and all that kind of stuff. We've got podcasts that we're looking at creating. We've got volunteers that are wanting to make magazines and actually distribute those. These are all ideas that people are coming forward with, and it's up to us then to collate them all and then realize them as well with the support of those same volunteers, giving them the ownership and responsibility. If it's not marketing, then maybe you want to get involved in admin and administration side, or maybe get involved in some of the challenges and events, or maybe even try and go overseas, the field visits. But the opportunities are really, really vast, and I don't think people realize how many doors open up just by volunteering, because you will also then just your network will broaden as well quite a lot. And it is about broadening those networks, because what I've watched and observed is how a lot of young people on social media, where they started off their journey with volunteering and where they've headed since then, 5 years down the line, mashallah, in some tremendous roles just because they started off volunteering. Folks, if you've just tuned in, you're listening to the Urban Kube with me, Shemiza, and we are talking National Volunteer Recruitment Drive with no other than Zidan Qureshi, who is the head of fundraising for Salam Charity. He's talking to us about how you can get involved to shape fundraising ideas and campaign concepts, understanding the charity's vision and objectives, and joining him across 23 cities across the UK to get involved on this drive, this charity volunteering drive. 23 cities, goodness me. That sounds like a real tour. What number are we at now? How many cities have you been to? Only 1, 2, 3, 4. So done 4, and today will be number 5. Number 5. So tell me, when are you heading to Luton? So Luton's quite good, really good, I'm quite excited to come to Luton because we've got a lot of responses. Yeah, we've got a lot of responses. People on Instagram messaging us and on emails. It's quite nice. We're coming on the 19th of February. Cool. Inshallah. I think, is that a Friday? I've got a feeling that's a Friday. I'm not too sure. But it's 19th of February, and it's at 6 p.m. And same thing. So we've just been discussing. We've already got about 6 people that have said that they are looking at attending. We haven't really pushed it out properly yet. We're probably going to push it out more this week. I guess this is what we're on the radio for as well. But it's always nice. Like I've always said, we only really need 1, 2, 3 people to turn up per city. If more turn up, that's even more amazing. And so would they take the lead in that city then? Because if you're going across, are you having little pockets of people across each city taking the lead of the project? That's right. Okay, fantastic. And then really it's up to them what they want to do, how they want to shape it, how they want to get involved, and then we kind of just
hopefully kind of coach them and mentor them as well.
Fantastic.
And then give them some sort of roles.
Right, so folks, if you've just tuned in, Luton, Tuesday 19th of February, Salam Charity are coming to the town for a national recruitment drive, getting you guys to volunteer and to share your ideas and visions in making a difference to our local community, be that locally or nationally. I hope it will be something local because, you know, I think charity always starts from home, and home is Luton right now. So how can people connect with you if they've heard the message? Zidan, how are people connecting with you guys?
So most of the people are connecting with us via Instagram, to be honest. We've had a lot of response on there. I mean,
so give us the handle.
Handle is Salam, spelled with one A, SALAM, Charity UK. So Salam Charity UK. Or you can just email us at volunteer@salamcharity.org.
Now, if you're somebody that wants to get some voluntary experience but don't know where to look or where to start, and this sounds like something that's down your street, then definitely do get in contact with Salam Charity. Now, they're coming to Luton Tuesday 19th of February at 6 p.m. Do we know where the location is?
The location is, off the top of my head, I can't remember.
But if they come onto Instagram, they can kind of follow the story there, yeah?
The posters are on there, the posters are on
Fantastic.
there. The links are all on there. How to get in contact with us is on there as well.
Awesome. Brilliant. It sounds super, super exciting. Zidan, thank you so very much this morning. I hope you're wearing your sweater. Before you go, we talked about sweaters because it's National Sweater Day. Knitting, how's knitting going to get involved? Because you did say you like the sound of that.
Yeah, I think, you know what, scarves is coming to my head. Knitting, scarves, something to do with scarves. I know it's National Sweater Day, but can we just do something to do with knitting?
Go for it.
We just do the scarves thing, because my friend knitted a scarf for me, and he used to work for another charity as well, actually, and his mum knitted it for me. I've still got that, and you're right. It's something so nice about somebody hand-making something for you and giving it.
And what about handwritten notes? When's the last time you sent somebody a handwritten note or somebody sent you one?
Oh, okay. So my friend used to give me loads in college. So that's been about 15 years now.
Gosh, that's a long. That's like ancient times.
Yeah.
You need to send them a note so they can send you one back. Do you know what? It's been absolutely tremendous having you this morning, Zidan. Keep doing what you're doing. It sounds super exciting. Really, really creative and innovative. I love the fact that you're using different ways of getting people engaged. We are heading off to a break, but I want to say have a wonderful day and stay warm, wrapped up.
Bye now.
Take care, Assalamualaikum. That was Zidan Qureshi, the head of fundraising from Salam Charity, who are actually doing a recruitment drive, getting you guys involved to volunteer and share your ideas and making a difference in your local community. They're coming to Luton 19th of February, 6 p.m. We don't know where the venue is, but you need to follow them on Instagram and find out where they're heading, and hopefully it'll be something that you can get involved with. I am heading to a break. After the break, inshallah, I'll be joined by another tremendous guest talking about honesty and tea. Take care. See you straight after.
You're listening to an Inspire FM podcast, making available our popular programs from our daily broadcast on Inspire FM.
Catch a creative vibe on the Urban Kube with Sister Shemiza.
The following program is a repeat. Please do not message or call in. Any announcements made on the program may now not be applicable.
Good morning and Assalamu Alaikum, 11 o'clock, and it's Monday 4th of February, and you're listening to me, Shemiza, taking all the way up to 12 o'clock on the Urban Kube, brought to you on Inspire FM. It's been a fantastic show so far with some really, really fabulous guests, and we've been talking about art for social action and volunteering, a recruitment drive with the very fabulous Zidan Qureshi, who was just on the show just before the break, sharing with me his project, which is going across 23 cities to get people involved and engaged with their local communities, and looking at ways and creative, innovative ways to fundraise as well. So there is a opportunity to where he'll be joining yourselves, hopefully, on the 19th of February at 6 p.m. inshallah, in Luton. He's going to get back to me on exactly where the location is, and once I find that out, I will share that with you. And on today's show, we have been having some very interesting conversations. Earlier on in the show, I was talking about art for social action with Farah Subhan. Farah Subhan is a visual artist who uses pop art to reflect her view of the world with very vibrant, bold colours and very innovative, poignant messages. She is part of an exhibition called 22 Seconds to Murder. This is an exhibition where a piece of her work will be showcased to raise awareness on the issue of knife crime. This is happening at the venue, which is Luton Sixth Form College, and it's on the 18th of February, time 12 o'clock to 6. It's a free event, open to all. And it's an event that will have performances and discussions and an art exhibition organised by Halima Ali. If you want to find out further information, please email contact@halimaali.com. contact@halimaali.com. And I will be speaking to Halima about this very, very important exhibition and the reason why she feels it's necessary for us to have this discussion and why she's using creativity to raise awareness of this, unfortunately, epidemic that is really impacting our community, the heart of our communities, and the number of young people who've lost innocent lives because of knife crime. So I'll be speaking to her about this, inshallah, very, very shortly. But I've had the pleasure of speaking to Farah Subhan. Please do, if you want to hear more about it, hear her interview. It will be repeated at 8 p.m. this evening and also on Facebook Live. We are also Spotify and iTunes as well, and we have Podbean too. So there's no way you can get away from the conversations on the Urban Kube show. Now, also this morning, I'm going to be joined by another absolutely fabulous guest. Now, you might have heard her on one of the adverts earlier on this morning. I'm going to be speaking to no other than Sabah Choudhry. Now, she's actually on her way to university, as you do. She's a student who is also studying broadcast journalism, mashallah, an MA in it. So I'm going to be talking to her a little bit about her views of the world. Plus, I'm also be joining very, very shortly another awesome guest. It is no other than the very, very fabulous LaYinka Sanni. Now, she is the co-presenter of a really interesting show called Honest Tea Talk. Can't get better than that, can you? Tea and a little bit of honesty. Do you like the way I said that? Okay, she'll be joining me after 11:30, inshallah, to talk to me about what Honest Tea Talk is all about, and also her passion for writing, empowering minds to create real, long-lasting, positive changes in their lives. And I'm also going to be finding out a little bit more about a very interesting podcast that she's done called Friday Feelers. Well, it's all happening on the show. You are listening to the Urban Kube with me, Shemiza, taking you all the way to 12 o'clock this morning. Now, we are also asking you guys, when's the last time you received a handwritten note? When's the last time you received a handwritten note, or you sent somebody a handwritten note? I mean, I had the most awesome experience of receiving a lovely gift. It was a book, The 99 Names of the Beloved. So also with that came a little card, and the little card was handwritten in the scrawniest writing, but it didn't matter. The fact that somebody sent me a handwritten card, and it just made me feel so good. It was such a beautiful gift. So, Saima Daya, thank you so very much, my dear sister, for doing that and lifting my spirits. Now, I know somebody else that does a lot of handwriting, I'm sure, in her notes on the way to university is no other than the very fabulous Sabah Choudhry. Now, hey, Assalamualaikum Sabah. Now, guys, you would have heard her in the break at 10:30 because her little advert, her soundbite played, and I was going whoop whoop. Sabah Choudhry is the lady behind a number of tremendous programming. She's a producer, she's a presenter, she's a writer, she's a quirky soul, and she's also a student. How does she manage it all? Sabah, how are you this morning?
I'm well, thank you, Alhamdulillah. How are you doing, Shemiza?
I'm very, very well. I'm very well, my darling. Now, you're on the way to university. You are a broadcast journalist based in London, for those of you that didn't know.
Correct, yeah.
She studied a BA in anthropology at SOAS, one of the coolest places to study that. And she's currently doing an MA at the City in broadcast journalism. Now, Sabah has worked as a producer, presenter on 2 women's shows for British Muslim channels, and you will know her because she came on my show to plug Women Like Us, who are leading and changing the narrative. Hello, my lovely.
Hello. Long time, Shemiza.
It's been wonderful following your journey since, mashallah. It's been a year since the episodes aired, and you're back on with another fantastic series. And mashallah, now the mainstream media's picked up on Women Like Us because you have been remarkable in leading and changing that narrative. How has the journey been so far for you, Sabah?
Oh, it's been, honestly, a whirlwind. I can't believe it's been 1 year since the first episode of Women Like Us aired on television, and we were in Luton with you on your show talking about it. We're now currently on season 3 of Women Like Us. We've got bigger guests. We're talking about more heated discussions, and it's more kind of alive than ever before. And
wow.
It's just a really exciting time to be a British Muslim woman, I think.
And it sure is, mashallah. And those topics, unfortunately, are still being discussed like 10 years, 20 years on. How does it make you feel? Because, you're a 20-something. You're a millennial. Is that what they're called? Millennials.
Millennials,
you know, and you're...
Snake generation.
Yeah, and you're kind of like still having to continue with these discussions. Are we seeing any headway with them, or?
Well, I mean, the optimistic side of me would like to say yes. But then again, I am, like you said, I'm 20, turning 24 soon. And I've had conversations with women that are double my age that have said to me, Sabah, we've been having these same conversations for the past 10, 15, 20 years, and not much has changed. The fact that you yourself are having, debating certain issues and trying to raise awareness shows how slow of a trudge it is, and it will continue to be, which kind of really dampens my spirit a little bit when I hear that. But I think, do you know what? Like, you have to keep going, because when we stop having these conversations, someone else will start owning them, and then that's when the narrative will not be in your favour. We need to be the ones leading and writing our own histories, because again, if we don't, someone else will, and then ain't nobody got time for that.
Definitely doesn't. And but you've got time for it, my darling, and you are actually doing an MA now in the City on broadcast journalism. And what made you want to do that? Now, considering your background, mashallah, you're very articulate. You're very a smart cookie. You've studied a BA in anthropology at SOAS, so it's one of the leading places to actually study something like anthropology, and you've had experience in producing and presenting. Why did you need to go on to do a broadcast journalism? Don't you have enough skills and talents to kind of like skip that bit?
Well, I don't know about that, but the main reason I wanted to do this MA was because I wanted to make that shift from kind of entertainment and lifestyle programming to news. And I thought, right, to really be considered seriously in mainstream spaces, I need to have a rounded skill set, because my background was, like you said, producing and presenting, but I wanted to make myself as competitive as possible. I thought, right, if I'm going to enter this space and really be seriously committed towards changing discourse, I need to seriously up my game. I thought I need to learn how to edit, I need to learn how to film, I need to learn how to do all these different things, and it's only through maybe perhaps, because I mean, you can learn these things on the job, right? But it's not guaranteed that you will get that opportunity. So I thought, you know what? Take 1 year out from work and just hone in those skills as much as you can, and then go into the job market fresh and with all those skills ready and, rearing to go. So that's why I chose to do the MA.
And what's interesting is because when you did enter the Muslim media space, you didn't have those broadcast journalist skills, but you kind of polished in and honed in, I think, was just a natural talent. So now you're into sort of like, the first term or so on this MA. What have you been able to learn on this course, and how has it kind of made you view your skill as a journalist?
Well, I mean, the course is really great in the sense of it teaches you how to be a rounded broadcaster. So it's primarily geared towards online radio and television. Now, media is working towards those three areas. It's kind of like a triangle. Like if you make a TV package, it's likely that they will convert it into something for radio and for something for online, whether that's social media or, anything else on an online article. So I thought, okay, by doing this course, I will have the skills to be able to do all of those things. And it's from having those practical skills and really engaging in them during this course, I've been able to now demonstrate them in kind of big mainstream newsrooms where I've had the opportunity to work. So, yeah. Of course.
Now, the course, does it deal with diversity? Because we have had some of the most extraordinary journalists out there who've been trained in some of the best spaces, but yet feel that they are not getting their equal footing. Do you feel that, it's your time to kind of break that barrier?
Well, do you know what, Shemiza? Even within my course in particular, I remember the first day when I started, I walked in to the main hall and it was just a sea of white faces. And with media in particular, with mainstream, on the screens, they tend to have, the brown and black faces, the hijabi women, whatever. But behind the camera, inside the newsrooms, it's a completely different story. That people tend to come from kind of white, privileged, middle-class backgrounds, and the majority of these people are also men. And I remember I did some work experience at the BBC over December and got the chance to sit in on some senior meetings. Kamal Ahmed and I, he's one of their editorial directors, we were the only people of colour in that meeting. And this was the senior leadership. And I feel like when you have people from very similar backgrounds in positions of authority and decision-making, the same sort of programming will continue.
Of course.
And we need to really diversify our thoughts, our opinions, and how we produce broadcasts. And it worries me that even now to this day, with courses like, at City and Cardiff and whatever, the majority of the people come from the same backgrounds. And the reason why that is because not a lot of people can afford to send their children to do MAs. To do an MA is a luxury. And I've been very fortunate. I'm an Aziz Foundation scholar. I received a scholarship from them, so I was able to make that journey. But I know a lot of people, a lot of friends that wouldn't have had that chance.
Wow.
Just because of the costly implications, and the same goes for me. So I don't know. Inshallah, we're working towards it. Long, slow trudge, but it all depends on your intentions, and mine is to diversify mainstream media voices.
Inshallah. So, yeah. And, you've had such a tremendous journey, and I've been following your little footsteps, even your little Instagram post, which is so funny. Stay safe in the snow, young lady. Stay safe. That was quite funny to watch. But, I'm going off tangent. Now, coming back to the scholarship, you did mention something quite very, very important, very relevant about the costing. Now, it's an Aziz Foundation scholarship. Tell us a little bit more about this. And it's absolutely wonderful that a foundation is actually encouraging Muslims to come forward and kind of, get on these fantastic courses.
Yeah. Well, the Aziz Foundation is a fantastic charity. They provide a multiple number of scholarships for British Muslims that really want to change the game in whatever field it is that they wish to enter. I know now they've welcomed something like 50 scholarships for their for potential British Muslims who want to study, whether it's a master's or a PhD or whatever, and there is an application process for that. But they're so helpful in terms of not only, if you get the scholarship, giving you access to these spaces, but also beyond that, once you've got that, as a scholar, they will introduce you to, I can only really talk about media perspective because that's what I do, but they've introduced me to so many mainstream newsrooms. They've invited me to talk at national conferences, and the opportunities are endless. So I'm so grateful to them for giving me these opportunities, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be where I am right now in terms of where I'm working and the skills and the people that I've met. So I owe a lot to that organisation.
Mashallah. But then you are giving a lot back as well, and you have been entertaining us very, very well on 2 Muslim channels, mashallah, and really made your mark there. Once you've graduated from this MA in broadcast journalism, will you be going back to Muslim media?
Well, I did the MA because I want to go into news, and I don't really know any Muslim media channels that do news. And I also feel like with the mainstream spaces, or with media in general, actually, I don't want to be that pigeonholed Muslim journalist. I want to demonstrate that I can talk about a variety of issues that aren't just Muslim or Islam specific, if that makes sense. Because, my interests span across, fashion, politics, human rights. And when you kind of position yourself in a box, you then kind of limit your scope. And as a journalist, I want to be able to do everything. I want to do things that make me feel uncomfortable and nervous. I want to present on sports programs. I want to, do war reporting. I want to work on documentaries and investigations and loads of different things. And that's what excites me about journalism, the fact that it's so different, so broad, it's vast, it changes every single day. And news offers that.
But, I hear where you're coming from, and I love this spark and energy. And inshallah, when I speak to you again in 10 years' time in my little, care home and observing you on the news, drinking from a straw, a recyclable one, will you have that spark and energy? Because I do see, I'm not being pessimistic, but I'm being a little bit real. When we have these really innovative exciting voices, and then they get into a system and they're slightly controlled by an agenda, and then and it sucks the life out of them. How are you going to ensure, Sabah, that doesn't happen to you?
Well, lots of, so I have one or two Muslim mentors that are really helping me in terms of gaining access to media mainstream spaces. And the one thing that both of them have said to me that they have in common is don't lose that spark that you have. And I think it's because they know, as you said, it can get lost when you enter a system that expects you to conform to a certain value system, a certain way of behaving, that can dissolve. And they were saying that as humans, our unique selling points are our personalities. And once you lose that, you lose a massive part of yourself. So to be honest, Shemiza, I really don't know, because I'm still on that journey, but I can only really try my hardest and kind of cling on to myself, as it were, and just hope for the best.
Inshallah. And, I'm sure our listeners who are listening in this morning, if you've just tuned in, it's 11:18, Monday, 4th of February, and you are listening to myself on the Urban Kube with the very fabulous Sabah Choudhry. Sabah is a broadcast journalist, and she's based in London, and she is doing a MA in the city and broadcast journalism, mashallah, and she's actually en route to her course. She's such a good student, but she's given me a few moments of her time to so that we can catch up with this wonderful journey that she's had in the media. She's actually on the third series of Women Like Us, which is an extraordinary program which she has produced and she's presented with remarkable women who are leading and changing the narrative of female voices in Muslim media, but media in general as well, because those women that you have on that panel are extraordinary. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah, they're all fabulous. They come from such different, diverse backgrounds, not only in terms of ethnicity, but also what they do for a living. So we've had, directors, we've had producers, we've had makeup artists, we've had spoken word artists, we've had CEOs of magazines, we've had national activists. The scope is really, really wide-ranging. And the kind of benefit of that is people bring their diverse experiences to the table, which means that there's always a beautiful array of opinions that are being explored and debated on the show. So,
and the list of women is endless, isn't it? It's just like, it just doesn't stop. My goodness. And the thing is, we see that, you see that, because this is the world that we're in, and we are, we relish it because it keeps the output continuous. But when we step out, and then when people talk about, and when people say to you, where are the women? Well, where are your Muslim women who have voices? How does it make you feel, Sabah?
Well, it makes me feel like, you know what, there are so many of us that have interesting things to say, but we're not always given the opportunity to say them, which is why spaces like Women Like Us are so great, because it's a safe environment for us to voice whatever it is that we want. And it's a chance for us to really showcase the diversity and the talent that exists within the Muslim community, which is the great thing about Muslim media in particular. It's Muslim media that has given me that leg up in terms of my experience and in my journey of media. Like, we obviously worked together, Shemiza, and earlier, like 2 years ago, on the Salam channel, and that experience has really, really helped me in terms of what I do now. So I owe it so much to Muslim media, and I hope that we will continue to use these spaces to give Muslim women the opportunity to highlight their work.
Alhamdulillah, and inshallah, and that kind of brings me on to Inspire FM. Guys, if you're interested in hosting your own show, we're always looking for new ideas, new innovative voices to come on and broadcast from here, because it does start from places like this to get a feel for what your passion is and whether this is an area that you kind of want to grow and nurture. So I think Muslim media is a wonderful platform as a starting platform, really, and which, both of us have had the experience, and I'm so pleased to see that, you're kind of branching out and gaining those skills, which, Aziz Foundation, a charity, has enabled you to get that scholarship, which I really do need to kind of highlight for anybody else that's really wanting to kind of like broaden their academic interests in creativity and journalism and academia, PhD, so forth. Then the Aziz Foundation is something to kind of tap into, because the wonderful Sabah has made sure that's happened, and it's really working for you, mashallah. Yeah. Now, Sabah, I know you're in a rush, but when are you going to have your break? Do you think, are you going to have lunch today? Are you on the run? Or, the reason why I'm asking is because this might be of interest to you. At lunchtime, you might want to maybe try a biryani wrap, maybe, which is
wrap?
A biryani wrap, my darling. It's actually causing a little bit of controversy because it's been described and accused of cultural appropriation, because a leading food store, a big branded company, is actually selling biryani wraps. I mean, yeah. What's your thoughts on that? Is that something you could get your teeth into at break time?
Break time, more like breaking hearts. Like, that's so devastating. Biryani in a wrap? Absolutely not. It kind of reminds me, actually, of I can't remember where this was. It was quite some years ago. I saw biryani on a pizza advertised, and they called it Bir Pizza, and I thought, what on earth is it? This is an insult to my heritage. I'm not going to lie, I was slightly tempted to try it, but I thought, no, out of principle, I am not going to do it. This is not allowed. This should not be a thing. I would have to be really desperate, and there would have to be no food around for me to have to try that.
Wow.
Yeah. Would you try it?
Do you know what? I just can't understand the logic between like rice and in a wrap. I know you can get like it's a Mexican, what's it called? The Mexican wraps.
The
burritos, yeah. And it took me a while to get used to having rice in that. So, intriguing.
Rice should be eaten with yogurt,
yes,
and not with bread.
Yeah, totally feeling that vibe. I'm getting the munchies now. I'm totally getting the munchies. And one more last question, because, my darling, I saw you in the snow. How are you feeling? How's the vibe in London? Can you see snow around you, or is it just speckles?
At the moment, there's no snow. Thank the Lord, because as you know, Shemiza, I am not a fan. Snow brings ice, and ice brings accidents, and that's why you will not find me in the snow unless I really have to be outside. So yeah, specks of rain, but no snow. What's it like in Newton?
Oh, it's lovely. It's glorious. I mean, we have lots of bright skies. I mean, it was bright skies when I came in. It's 8 degrees. I mean, we do have a little bit of rain drizzling here, there, and everywhere, but I think the snow has disappeared. It was beautiful when it was just like nice and flat, but I had a bit of an adventure with the snow. But sweaters, my darling, are you into, have you ever owned a hand knitted sweater?
I have, actually. My grandma, she is quite the knitter, and over the years she's made us ponchos, scarves, jumpers. So we do have stacked away homemade designs that she's like made for us, but at the moment we kind of wear branded items, which kind of breaks her heart a little bit. So thanks for the reminder, because I am going to pop into my wardrobe and look for my granny's gear that she's
Bless
made
you.
for us.
Keep yourself wrapped up warm, my darling, and have a wonderful day. Thank you so very much for joining us this morning. I know you're making your way to university, but I'm sure you've inspired a lot of our listeners on the show this morning. And keep your handwriting neat, because that's another discussion we were having on the show this morning. Or the shorthand, journalistic shorthand. It's an art in itself. Yeah. Have a wonderful day, Sabah, and thank you for joining us.
You as well. Bye bye.
Take care. Assalamu alaikum. That was the wonderful Sabah Choudhry, giving us a bit of an update on her journalistic journey, and it's just so tremendous following from where she began to where she is, and that's somebody whose name you need to keep out for. She's only 24, mashallah, but she's had such an impact in the media so far. I'm heading off to a break, inshallah, and I'm going to be joining another fantastic guest, and we're talking honest tea talk straight after this. Assalamu alaikum.
Are you an avid bookworm? Or maybe you love books but just struggle to find the time to read? Then you need to tune into the Book Club Show on Inspire FM with Sister Imrana, where we'll be discussing a fab selection of books with special studio guests. Join us every Tuesday morning from 10 till 11 to inspire imagination and rekindle your love for reading. Don't forget the Book Club Show every Tuesday morning 10 till 11 on your very own Inspire 105.1 FM.
Catch a creative vibe on the Urban Kube with Sister Shemiza.
The following programme is a repeat. Please do not message or call in. Any announcements made on the programme may now not be applicable.
Good morning and assalamu alaikum. It's 11:30, so that means it's the final half an hour of the Urban Kube show. Today is the 4th of February and we're already in the month of February. Goodness me, where has the time gone? Now, earlier on in the show, I've had the pleasure of speaking to the very fantastic Farah, talking to us about Art for Social Action and a project that she is exhibiting at, which is 22 Seconds to Murder, which is an exhibition and performance poetry event which is highlighting knife crime and ways in which I hope we as a community might be able to tackle this epidemic, which is really taking the lives, innocent lives of our young people in the community of Luton and beyond. So this event is happening at venue. The venue for this event is Luton Sixth Form College, and it's called 22 Seconds to Murder. It's a performance and discussion venue, Luton Sixth Form College, 18th of February. Time is 12 till 6 p.m. It's a free event, open to all. And to get involved, please email contact@halimaali.com. Also had the pleasure of speaking to Zidan Qureshi, talking about his national volunteer recruitment drive. Folks, 23 cities he's travelling across to make sure that we get innovative ideas on the table and we get people volunteering and making a difference across their community, across the whole of the country. So he'll be coming down to Luton on the 19th of February, inshallah, to make this possible. I'm still waiting for him to tell me what the venue is. Come on, Zidan, if you're listening, tell us what the venue is so I can share that information to our listeners. Sabah Choudhry also joined us just before the break, and she is a journalist extraordinaire. The reason why I say that is because I have absolutely had great pleasure in following her career. And for the last couple of years, she's a 24-year-old who is really making her mark in the world of presenting broadcasting. Now, she is a lady behind the series called Women Like Us on British Muslim TV. It's going into the third series when remarkable women coming together, leading and changing the narrative, mashallah. And she's also talked to me about and shared with us about this MA that she's doing, and which she's studying in the city, and it's on broadcast journalism. And it's the Aziz Foundation, the charity Aziz Foundation has enabled her to make her dreams become a reality. The Aziz Foundation, folks, Google them, find out what they're all about. If you're somebody that actually wants to go into further education, do a PhD, do an MA in journalism, creative arts, so forth, and they actually have funding for about 50 students, I understand, from what Sabah was telling me. Do check them out, please. They're a great charity supporting the new generation of voices that need to be heard in the mass media. Mashallah. Okie doke. I want to say thank you to everybody who's tuning in to the show this morning. I had a lovely message from a brother Adnan in Luton, but he's actually working in High Wycombe, and he's saying that he's listening into the show from his office, and keep up the good work. Thank you. It always makes my day when we find out who is listening from from where. So do tell us where you're listening in from this morning, folks. It's always a pleasure. Now, the topics of conversation here, as always, we're talking about art for social action, but we're also trying to get you to tell me when's the last time you actually wore a hand-knitted item of clothing, because it's National Sweater Day, people. National Sweater Day. So when's the last time you wore a hand-knitted item? Maybe my next guest will be able to share when the last time she wore something that's hand-knitted, or she's maybe hand-knitted something for her lovely children. I'm super delighted to have a wonderful, wonderful, remarkable woman joining us on the show this morning, and she's getting honest with a bit of tea talk. Yes, they're the sort of conversations I love having on the show. It is no other than the actual co-presenter of this new, exciting show, Honest Tea Talk, which I understand is actually, the episode is launching this week, and is no other than LaYinka Sanni. What a beautiful name. She is somebody who is working very, very hard to empower Muslim women and teens to use the power of their minds to create real, long-lasting, positive change in their lives. She's also the former editor and writing coach. She's a lover of words and enjoys putting pen to paper to journal reflections and personal realizations she shares on her weekly Friday Feeler podcast. Wow. It's no other than LaYinka Sanni this morning. Assalamu alaikum, sister.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Shemiza, how are you?
I'm very well. Even more better hearing your stunning voice, mashallah, this morning. You're waking me up. How are you, my dear?
I'm very well, alhamdulillah. Feeling a bit, when you've had adrenaline rush and it's kind of like coming down from the highs, because we literally just launched Honest Tea Talk an hour ago. Ooh. And it's just been like, oh.
Tell us more. Honest Tea Talk. I'm super excited about this, because I've been following this on social media, and I just love the title. And I love the fact that you're in this wonderful space, three very, very strong, empowered sisters coming together and talking over tea. I mean, it can't get better than that, right?
Right? I mean, we do it. The thing is, we do it privately.
Yes,
and we
of course.
To then do it in a more public way. Because, when you have conversations with your girlfriends, right? And you're just like, oh, my God, that's something that we need to be talking about as an ummah, as a community. Uh-huh. But there are no mics, there are no cameras, there's no one to record it for you and put it out there. So we decided, let's just get the cameras, let's get the table, let's get the tea, have these conversations and put them out there. Have real, raw, honest discussions that are about Muslim women and also about the Ummah at large. And yes, there may be some unpopular opinions, but that's all good, because we're generating discussion.
And that's the most important thing. And this is what we've been talking about across the whole show today, about generating these discussions and leading the way. And mashallah, it seems to be a lot of sisters who are doing that, and doing that really, really well. We talked about knife crime, the project earlier on, and then we talked with Farah Subhan, and then mashallah spoke to journalist Sabah Choudhry about women like us and these type of topics as well. So, sister, how did you come about coming together? And when is this episode launching, and how can we find out more?
Well, we're all friends. So all three of us, myself, Alia Qadri, who is the founder of Sisters Achieve and Solace UK, and Sumaya Hassan, founder of Recite and Reflect. We actually all know each other. So and that was essential, that we could have real and raw conversations with people that we felt comfortable talking to. So the three of us came together. Do you know what? It was actually based on Jada Smith's Red Table Talk that she does on Facebook.
Yes, I've seen them.
And so we were like, wait, wouldn't it be awesome to have a Muslim version? And it was a case of, okay, let's see who's going to take the ball and run with it. And no one did. So Alia decided to kind of get the ball rolling, and that's it. It's been talking to Allah about it, putting it into action, and here we are. So
mashallah.
The episode actually launched this morning. The first episode launched this morning. So it's available on our Facebook page, facebook.com/ Honest Tea Talk, and also it's available on YouTube for those people who aren't on Facebook.
Now, how is the experience like, when we're talking with our girlfriends, we're sitting around and we're talking on weekend, we know nobody's watching us, but when the camera's on you, did you have to filter yourself, or did you feel conscious? How did you make that happen without losing that pizzazz of the conversation?
For me, personally, I'm really good at filtering people out and filtering sounds out and noise out and things up. So I didn't care about the cameras. They didn't make a difference to me. I was my normal self with my theatrics. I'm very vocal with my hands. And so I was doing all my hand gestures and stuff. So it was really, really easy. And that was kind of one thing that we all decided that we needed to be able to portray our real selves and stuff. Because if we're here trying to have real and raw, honest conversations, how are we then putting on a mask ourselves? And
that's not an easy thing to do, though, sister, though, is it?
It's not easy to do. And I think this is probably where this shake-up in the community has happened, because sisters have always forever been told to be a certain way. Don't let people see your true self. Oh, my God, you're smiling, sister. And
hashtag smiling is sunnah.
Right? Thank you. High five.
You know why I love this woman, right, people? You can hear it. We can hear the smiles beaming out of the airwaves. But tell us, what are these conversations that are being had on this show, Honest Tea Talk?
Well, the first episode was about Muslim women keeping it real and the repercussions when we don't. And episode 2 is about surviving depression.
Okay.
Episode 3 is about self-inflicted depression.
Oh, goodness.
And that's, that one's a bit, that one I think is going to be like, oh, what?
Yeah.
So we've got a load of other things lined up in terms of intimacy, pornography.
Gosh, you're tackling that subject as well.
Yeah, we're going there. Like I said, real, raw, honest discussions that we don't want to have. As an ummah, that we do need to. Domestic violence, sisters losing themselves. So we've got a whole host of topics that, we've been sent over 150 topics to cover.
Oh, so you did a call out. So there was a call out.
Wow. At the very beginning, we were like, okay, guys, what do you want us to talk about? And the suggestions came flooding in. Alhamdulillah, and we're all still open to suggestions. So if anyone knows of anything they want us to talk about, send them our way, and we'll.
So how do people get in contact with you?
They can contact us by going to by emailing us at honestytalk@gmail.com. They can also find us on Facebook, on YouTube, and contact us via those means too.
Now, you're all practicing sisters, mashallah, who are very passionate about your faith, and faith plays a tremendous part in your lives. So are there any Islamic reflections in Honest Tea Talk?
Yeah. And that's the short answer.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely. We do add, we're not out to preach to anyone. So it's not your traditional Islamic show where we're not bringing traditional things like hadith and ayahs and Quran to present to sisters, because we're not out to present, we're out to discuss and to have conversations. Yes, we talk about Allah, we talk about the deen, because at the end of the day, we are Muslims. So Islam features in our discussions because that's part of our identity. But we're not, giving talks or reminders or things like that. That's not the nature of the show.
Wow, sounds super exciting. I'm seriously looking forward to catching the first episode that was launched this morning. Wow, congratulations on that. Have you had any feedback? Has anybody got back to you and said they've, their response to the first show?
Yeah, we have had great feedback so far. Because we've been kind of teasing people for about a week or two. One sister was like, "Oh, I'm so glad it's finally here," and it was so well worth the wait. And just sharing their thoughts and based on what we had said on the show, there have been lots of sisters talking about their own experiences of hiding themselves, and that's really nice to know that sisters they feel like they're being recognized, like their pain and their struggles have been recognized and being aired. And
the fact is, you're taking that ownership and lead, and it's not an outside source taking that controlling that narrative, which is really quite interesting. And you know what I mean by that. It's like you're taking ownership of it. But you're somebody that doesn't shy away from expressing yourself. And mashallah, you also have the Friday Feeler podcast, which is reflections and personal realizations that you share on this weekly podcast. And this love for writing, this love for reflection, where does it come from? And you've had, mashallah, I've been following your journey for a good number of years. I've been following your sister. You know that, right?
I always get creeped up by stalkers, but okay.
She said that so loud as well.
Alhamdulillah, you know, my journey has been, subhanAllah, what could I say? I have been on a massive, like, tumultuous journey, and I'm so glad to be where I am and grateful to be where I am now. I have taught in colleges. I've taught in Egypt. I've taught here. I've been an editor, writing coach. But I think my call to be reflective comes from my tests, comes from my trials, comes from my struggles, and knowing that other people are going through that. And it helps me my reflections help me to make sense of my own mess and my own issues and my own journey. And it also gives me the opportunity to share it with other people so they can almost see themselves in it. And I often get that, oh my God, sister, how did you know? Can you read my mind? Wow. That's exactly, I feel that. And I think that drives me, that I love that. I love to hear from sisters who have been through the same thing, because often, again, it's similar to the premise of honesty talk. These things aren't spoken about. So when we start opening up, that's when we can start growing. That's when we can start moving forward and developing.
Inshallah. And your journey of development has been very intriguing, because you mentioned you being a teacher. And are you still a teacher? I mean, you're teaching in a different method, but share with us that change of experience.
I believe I'll always be a teacher. I believe I've always been a teacher at heart. I used to teach English at a local college. I taught for 8 years, as well as teaching abroad in Egypt. I taught English there as well. But I'm still in the realm of teaching now. So I run courses, personal development courses and stuff. So I'm in the midst of the registration process for my new course called Evolve During Ramadan. Actually, it's not new because I've done it 3 years in a row. So it's the third year I'm running it, and it's a very different pre-Ramadan course for sisters. Not your bog standard, do this, do that. It's very much on the inside out approach. So that's what I'm focusing on teaching now. But I have left my old job. I resigned in 2017. And that was an interesting process as well, deciding that I'm going to walk away from secure income. That was basically
that is quite a move, a change, a very brave move to do. So why did you want to leave? And what was the next stage of development for you?
To be honest, I love everything about being in the classroom. I love my students. I love the banter. I love, even telling them off, because they used to crack me up. So everything about being in the actual classroom was fantastic. Everything outside of it, that's where the whirlwind was. Okay. And I found that personally it became too much of a case of ticking boxes and jumping through hoops.
Bureaucracy.
I felt like I felt like I was doing things that I was not told that I would be doing in my teacher training courses, And so I decided to make that move. It was a year-long time of ruminating, thinking about it, talking about it. And then I took the leap. I just talked to Allah, and I took the leap. And alhamdulillah, I've been doing my personal development work full-time ever since, alhamdulillah. And it's been great.
And how did people respond to you when you wanted to leave like a cozy job? Because people assume teaching is cozy, you've got the holiday pay, so forth, and you can manage your children around this profession. And why would you want to leave it when it fits in so nicely into balancing home, work, life? What was the response from your colleagues and people around you?
Why the hell are you doing that for? And how are you going to pay your bills? And, oh my God, am I the only one suffering from the not having to have secure income? Like, there were a whole host of insecurities thrown at me, but I knew that it was a projection of whatever was going on for them. Okay. So I shrugged it off. It didn't bother me. There was only one colleague. Well, there were a few colleagues, but there was one specific colleague said, it's going to be all right. God's going to take care of you. Wow. Like, that's what I'm trying to tell everyone. Wow. She's not even a Muslim.
Wow.
Like,
so this was
what I'm saying.
Beautiful, like a non-Muslim colleague reassured you by saying God will take care of you.
Absolutely.
That's beautiful. That is really, that's all you needed to hear, right? Because that's what you were echoing inside your heart and your mind.
Exactly.
And God has been taking care of you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has, because mashallah, 2019, my darling, tell us what's happening now. What are you getting involved with, and how has the change been a positive one for you?
There was so much. I had a team meeting with my team this morning, and I'm like, dude, just write my to-do list for me, okay? And I'll just do the thing. The frazzled. But alhamdulillah. Allah has put me somewhere where I'm honored to be, where I'm honored to help sisters and teams, where I'm honored to be serving sisters to really move towards greatness for themselves and their families. And so I've got courses, I've got a retreat that I'm going to be taking part in the summer, inshallah. And just loads of workshops, and just carrying on, giving excellent value to ladies who are on my Friday Feeler family, and they, interacting on Facebook and social media and things like that, and honesty talk too. So it's just a whole load of exciting, beautiful things, alhamdulillah.
And you have this beautiful energy, and you remind me of somebody that is very dear to my heart, Naima B. Robert, your energy level.
Oh, yeah, she's my good friend.
Yeah, you just drop my name to her. You just do that.
I will.
You have awesome. You have that spark, that energy, similar to her. Whenever I have the pleasure of interviewing her, and it kind of like, it's a real good feel-good factor. So Friday Feelers, I know it's going to be full of lots of energy, and Honest Tea Talk sounds tremendous as well, mashallah. Now, folks, if you've just tuned into the show, you are listening to the Urban Kube with me, Shemiza. We are nearing to the end of the show, but the show will be repeated at 8 p.m. and you get to hear the wonderful voices and energy from all our guests this morning, sharing their creative journey and their passion for bringing their creativity to the wider communities, mashallah. And on the show right now, I'm joined by no other than LaYinka Sanni. What a beautiful name, LaYinka. I'm going to find out a little bit more where that name originates from. She's talking to me about Honest Tea Talk. The first episode was launched this morning, people, mashallah. And we're also talking to her about Friday Feeler, her podcast. And LaYinka is a former teacher, but she's still teaching. She's still in that realm of teaching, mashallah. But she's a writing coach, a former editor, somebody who's a lover of words. And I want to ask you, LaYinka, somebody who's a lover of words, when's the last time you wrote a handwritten note to somebody, or you received one? And is that a dying art form at the moment? Because everything is so email and text and WhatsApp based.
Last week to my son.
To your son?
Yeah.
Oh.
I keep a journal with him. We have a journal that we keep together, so we write to each other in our journal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, he's 15, right? So it's like a little secret between us, because don't let his friends know.
No, they're not listening to the show. I promise you.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a nice little love note that I left for him, and he wrote one back, and it was nice. Yeah.
Wow, that's a beautiful way of communicating with your son. That's really, really cool. I mean, being a mother of a teenage boy, what's the journey like?
It's a learning process. It's the moment I think that I know what I'm doing, he kind of proves me wrong.
Okay.
But alhamdulillah, because I've been on a personal journey to heal myself and work on myself. I believe that it's improved my relationship with my son.
Mashallah.
Alhamdulillah.
Because we need to start with ourselves, right? We need to work on ourselves and then make ourselves a better person. If we're happy in our space, then inshallah that resonates and reflects. I want to ask you about your beautiful name, LaYinka. Tell me, where does that come from?
Comes from Nigeria. The full version of my name is actually LaYinka, so it's got an O at the beginning. But I dropped my O because I share my full name, LaYinka Sanni, with a famous basketball player in the States. And, you know, if anyone wants to Google us, they'll only ever find her. So I dropped my O and made it LaYinka.
I love how you just let it go, let her have it, you know?
Yeah.
You know, just let her have it. She better be grateful. She better be grateful.
Yeah.
We're also finding out about, it is also National Sweater Day, my darling. So how are you rocking your sweaters? In this weather,
I struggle with sweaters because I don't know. I find it hard to regulate my body heat. So I'll wear sweaters and then sweat. That's what they're meant to do, right?
Are they?
I don't know.
I've learned something new today.
I don't know. I made that up. But
never get fashion advice from this woman. I hope she's not discussing fashion.
I'm so not.
Hand knitted?
Oh, I don't think I've ever had a hand knitted.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, I feel like I've missed out on something big. Have you ever had one?
Yes. You know, I'm going to say a massive shout out to my lovely neighbour, Amy in Nottingham. Whenever I see, mashallah, every child that's been born in our family, she's always hand knitted them a baby newborn cardigan. How cute is that? Absolutely.
See, my kids have them, but I've never had one for myself.
Maybe that's something you could do on Honest Tea Talk. Sit there knitting. No.
Yeah.
You're not feeling that vibe, right?
No, not quite.
But something else we talked about this morning, I don't know if this resonates with you, is the fact that the NHS are actually now prescribing art as a means of just, you know, to folk, really. Yay or nay with that? Do you think that's a great idea? Or
Absolute yay.
Oh, wonderful.
Absolute yay, yeah.
That's awesome. That's all I need to take because we're heading off to a break now at the end of the show. It's been awesome having you, LaYinka, joining me on the show. I'm super excited to catch you on Honest Tea Talk, and inshallah, wishing you the very best with everything you do. You've got such a beautiful personality, and I've really enjoyed interviewing you this morning. And you can catch the repeat at 8 p.m.
Thank you so much, my lovely. Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and good luck with everything. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
That was the wonderful LaYinka Sanni, mashallah, talking to us about everything that she's involved with, and she's involved with lots and lots of stuff. I am heading to the end of the show. Thank you for tuning in, and catch the repeat at 8 p.m. And from me, assalamu alaikum, and stay warm and stay safe and keep smiling. Assalamu alaikum.